Hi. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
Hi. Oh boy, this is exciting. What are Netflix searches?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, all right. I don't know if, so I'm not on video, right?
You're not on video, you just have a black screen and it actually says I'm talking to an iPhone.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
I'm just going to change your name to Laura so it doesn't say iPhone, okay?
That's fine.
Okay.
First of all, can I say it's lovely to talk to you.
Oh, it's lovely to talk to you too. I'm so super excited.
I've been watching you since way back in the day. And
Really?
yes,
Way back.
way back. And life's happened a lot since then. So, but yeah, so
So here we are.
I know, right? Delphi was in my backyard. So it's kind of what I grew up doing. And so I understand like what the girls went through, but I'm way older than them, but let's just say that. Okay. So, let me, if I can email you a lot of things.
Oh,
So,
okay.
cause I could read this off or, um, let me see. So I did screenshot. Like, here's the thing is that, they did. Oh, you're also going to hear my chunky chihuahua snoring.
Oh, that's okay. We're used to snoring dogs. We have
Okay.
a lot of people have snoring dogs.
It doesn't even bother me because she just, okay, here we go. So, do you want me to read this or I could email it to you to
You can
read
read
it?
it, sure.
Okay. All right. Well, so I feel like this is, um, I feel like they've done a lot like other searches, right? I feel like this is just tailored to one degree of things because it's obviously they didn't go through their, so
So
this is their
these are
Netflix.
searches on the computers at the Allen's house.
Well, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure. So those are great questions because I have other questions of like, so is this all the searches they've ever done from when to when, and like on how many devices and all that stuff. So I have a lot of questions about that. But here is what one news resource shared. And I will definitely here if you can show something, I will definitely send it to you too.
Sure, you can send it and I can pull it up on the screen if you can see
Yes,
and
because you're probably a better. Let's see. But I will be going back, and I am gonna definitely like walk across the bridge and hold on.
be careful with that. That's really high.
No, well, actually, I'll walk under the bridge.
Yeah, because Scooter's husband went on there and it's really high.
Well, yeah, I think that is
65 feet over.
it's
Yeah.
it's very high. It's I've only walked under it, and I think the thing that people need to hear is that like I have walked under it because I'm afraid of heights, so
Hmm.
I've gone up the creek, and it's a beautiful place. Like it's beautiful. There's different parts where you can swim, and I mean it's definitely gorgeous. But so you see the bridge, and then I mean I can send you all this footage I have. So that when you walk across or you're under the bridge, it's beautiful. But that's only like 1/6, 1/5, or whatever, I don't know, of the entire bridge.
Right, because
So,
they talk about like three bridges. It sounds like they talk about the Monon High Bridge, then they talk about a high bridge. Is that the same one, or and then they
oh,
talk about something else? I
okay,
can't think of the
great
other.
question. This is so great.
Okay,
There are so many bridges. There's the Freedom Bridge,
Yeah,
there's
Freedom Bridge. That's right.
all different bridges, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, yes. So there's all different bridges, but the bridge that they walked across is okay. So the part that it's different. Okay, so back in the day, like I guess the whole point is back in the day, I would have judged like, oh gosh, what parents let their children go do this.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm from that kind of city. Like,
Right.
we didn't have anything to do, and that's kind of what we did. So I went to like Three Arches in my little city, which is still in Indiana. So, um, so like it is that's a way smaller town. So it just like take away that of like it was just like 3 to 4, and they were going to drop them off and pick them up. That
Right.
very like okay. So they went there and you cross the bridge, and I could only walk under it, and I still will do that, but the people that walk across, so you can see the beauty part that's like way high up. I would say it's got to be like 100 feet.
Yeah,
like,
it's
if you fall
scary,
to the
right?
left
And there's no guardrails.
yeah, I can't. Are you afraid of heights? Like,
I'm not, okay, I guess you would say I'm not, because I've gone across like a cable bridge that was that high. It had the rope, it was a rope on the sides, and I was fine. If we went across fast, and yeah, I was chaperone for my daughter's 5th grade class, right? And then the little girl freaked out in front of me, right? And I was like, okay, Amanda, I'm right behind you. Don't worry about it. We're going to do this together. But she literally took so long to cross that cable bridge, and it was a long expanse, and it started to shake. And then, I was like, well, I was okay, but now we're like here for what seems like forever. And we're, it's like, we've got to go. The rope was like going into the bottom of, I had like Ked sneakers on or something. And I'm just like, this is crazy. And she finally, she was taking like the littlest steps. I thought we would never get across. And that was the only way to get across. That's why it was so important that she crossed it, because they said the whole class would have to like go back. And they were like, oh, come on. And I said, I'll get her to cross. Now, but that's the only, so I guess I'm not scared of heights, but it was just like too much time up there. But I know when I look at that bridge, without there being like guardrails, that would make me really nervous.
Thank you.
Like nothing to hold on to, you know what I mean? Yeah.
That's where I'm at, is because okay, so I went back to my hometown where like it's just okay, so we would go to we could cross Three Arches, right? So Three Arches Bridge, it was like, here's my nice little neighborhood, and then it was like, don't, we weren't supposed to go back there. It was like, but it was still, I could see the houses, but we shouldn't go back there, right? So because there was graffiti and probably homeless people living under the bridge, but
yeah.
So we'd sometimes go there because it was like adventurous,
right?
But I remember us crossing it, and we thought like, okay, so if there was a homeless man, we thought homeless people traveled on the bridges, like that's what they told us, if they traveled on the train tracks, like, or on the trains, and so we're like, if there was another person crossing, what would we do? It's like, well, we would wait back, we would never cross with another person because they would push us over or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And
right.
But for me, I won't cross that bridge. People are afraid of like the beams falling under them. That's not what I'm afraid of.
No.
I'm afraid of somebody like being like, there's a bee to your left, and then I would just jump to my right, like that's what I'm afraid of. I was like, I don't think I'm just gonna fall underneath the bridge. I don't think that, but I think that there needs to be guardrails, please. Thank you. Because I could trip on my shoelaces.
Yeah, right,
No.
right. Or get dizzy or fall, like, yeah, something, and just fall, and then just, over a little bit too much, and then, yeah.
Whew. Yes, and they have some kids that go out there, and they're just like, they go onto one of the platforms, and they lean over. That just makes me so nervous, because it's like, well, don't lean over too much. But it's...
Yeah,
so I
scary.
Yeah, so... people, to me, I think I would be able to cross it fine, but I think I might have like a panic moment of like, I don't know. So, but the part is that when they crossed, the part that's beautiful and everything that everyone can see, that's very like open, and which would be, you wouldn't expect some kidnapping to happen there. That's like 1/5 of the entire bridge. So then the rest of it goes deep, deep, deep into the woods. It's like, I wouldn't go there, like whether it's a bridge or a trail or anything.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that they have found is that they have played the bridge guy video, and we're learning more about what was played on that. What was played is that I didn't get to see that. I've been other days, so I've been other days. I really wish I had seen that day. So, but I did not. But what I will say is that they, it is kind of the bridge guy video. It's what you think. But Libby was, if we can take her like state of alarm, like maybe she had recorded, but she was kind of moving her phone up and down, like, okay, this guy's kind of weird. Like, I'm getting a feeling that he's weird. So she's like kind of filming up and down, but like at that point the girls are in a spot where, well, this is just my thoughts, but they're in a spot where it's like, let's not trigger him more. We're at the end of the path, so it's like, let's try to be polite, right? Let's try to not raise the alarm too much. So that's why she was moving her camera up and down. So that's the bridge guy video and then so he's walking fast. He meets up with them, and he says, like, I guess he says hi, and they say hi back. And then at some point you can hear the gun cock or whatever, and then you can hear, but there's no path. There's something. I think one of them says there's no path. There's no path to go on. So that like breaks my heart, because that is. So then he's like, well, no, down the hill. So I think they were being polite, like, okay, so we here's a publicly crossed thing, so we're crossing the bridge, then we see you coming up, you've been kind of weird before, we saw you in the path, we're gonna step to the side, let you pass, sir. And instead it was guys down the hill. Like, there's no place to go. We got to go back over the bridge, right? Like, you want to go back to where you came from.
And you said you think you hear a gun cock in it?
I haven't heard that, but that is what
you've heard them say that.
So what is interesting about this is that we've heard a lot of things, and then here's the trial. So people that have been there, like, day in and day out, they're finally getting answers. So how about if you ask me anything, like, what do you want some answers for? I can tell you if that was answered or not.
Okay, so just that, like, it's amazing that little girl was able to take that video. Because a lot of times when people get scared, like, that, they're not thinking, like, their mind's racing, and oh yeah, and then usually could think, oh gosh, I should have got a picture of that or something, right? So that was really amazing that she could get that video.
Yes.
Being scared like that, because usually, sometimes it throws your thinking off. So, that's just amazing that she got that.
Okay, Mommy, I feel like I really need you, because they're in this courtroom, or like this part of like YouTube and social media right now, there's people coming to the courthouse, and you could sit in there all day, and you could be on one side and it could be spun this way. And then another person could spin it this way. And I just need some reality, like, to report back to. So yes. So I would say, yes, you're correct. Like, so she had the diligence and
just like the clear thinking to get that video, you know what I mean? And then something you said about they're polite, and that's like, I had I don't know if you saw, I had this former deputy sheriff on, and then her partner, and they were talking about like how as women we are trained to be so polite, and we treat our daughter, train them to be so polite that a lot of times we should be screaming no, but find yourself in a really bad situation because you're trying to be polite and you're not realizing how much danger. That just struck me when you said they were trying to be polite. Like,
Oh, so there's just, I would love to, when I go into the court next time, to come live with you, because there are so many people that are going live and making thousands of dollars a night for Richard Allen. supporting Richard Allen. It's like,
Wow.
well, we don't know, guys. Like, we don't know, but I know that the families can't even. All right, I'll just put that aside. But so yes, but now all through the prosecution has laid out their case, okay, and in the cross from the defense, I will say they keep saying some things that it's leading me to think. They keep saying, oh, could they hear? Could you hear from there? Could they hear? And then when I saw the girls' wounds, the coroner's photos, the questions after that were, okay, so like here's where her throat was cut, here and there and there and there. So could they scream? Okay, how long would they be alive past this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's kind of sick. I don't really, I think they're preparing to be like, well, why couldn't they scream? Well, how could one man, a tiny man is what they call, like, get two girls to go down the hill and control them? And I think that it was, I could say that I think that it was, nobody thought this was going to happen. And I think the level of threat, if they would have just started screaming right then and there.
Well, but what if he had, maybe that's the reason he had the gun. Because couldn't he hold the gun on one and use the other, you know what I mean? Use a box cutter in one hand and hold the gun on the other one. Yeah. Don't move.
Great. So I'm gonna play devil's advocate. So I'll say but the other one, even when she got her throat jabbed in, she could still scream for 5 minutes.
I don't know. You could go straight into shock, and you know what I mean, and just. I don't know. I don't think you could scream. I don't think you wouldn't, and I think he probably told them to shut up, or who knows what they were thinking. Like the one that if he's holding a gun on one and she's thinking don't scream because he'll shoot. I don't know. It is. I have to say, like, what do you think? Do you think he did this alone?
I do, but I have been down all the rabbit holes. I really have. I've been through thinking there's no way it can be and all this, but then all these some of these YouTubers that like put out these channels that are saying like, here's episode 29, here's episode 57, we're gonna lay it out here, the family's guilty, here's it's like, but then make the plane land. So I was on board for conspiracies up to a certain point, and it's like if you're making 37 planes take off, can you not make one land? And if you can't, then I traveled down those roads. I really have. I was definitely not a it's definitely two-sided, pro prosecution, or they call it defense daddies. So, so I think why I wanted to talk to you about this is what's going to be coming up in the next week is then the defense laying out their case. And so by their cross, enough times that they asked, could you hear? Could they hear? Could you hear this from here? And to me, it's just if these were intelligent girls, they just don't see somebody that looks creepy and just scream from the top of their lungs, right?
Right. It goes along with the polite stuff. What if I'm wrong about this person, right? What if, I think that falls right in line with that.
Yes. So they are analyzing the threat level here. So at first it's they're being polite because maybe if they actually filmed him, then maybe that would set him off.
And and we don't know what he said about getting off, but maybe he said, I lost, crazy thing, okay? I lost my dog. Where is he? Can you help me look for him? He's over here, please. Just something. How do we know how he got them down? we're thinking he got them down with a gun or something threatening, but what if he didn't?
So, well, now I have some more answers for you so that he, but there's still so many people that want to doubt this, and it's okay. So now that we're getting the answers, so Libby it was still kind of innocent. She's kind of filming up and down. They were able to stabilize it. So it was kind of a thing where I think the threat level was, let's call it threat level 2, or something's off, but they thought maybe like, okay, well, we'll move to this side and this man will pass us. And so that's where she was like kind of like trying to film Abby. And then, so they've definitely used like NASA and other.
Wasn't she filming it like, wait, didn't she get at behind her? Wasn't she filming it like straight ahead? I thought she was filming almost like a selfie and she got the other girl in the back, like walking towards, no? Trying to remember.
I didn't see the actual video, but I've heard that. But people that have seen it, they said that it's more of she does film forward and she is asking questions, but she's pretending that she's not filming. So she's going kind of up and down with her camera. Okay. So it does get bridge guy in one like quick shot. Right. And then he's upon Abby way quicker than they could have imagined. And then they tripped down the hill and then the video stopped. So people definitely saw the video. I did not. There's parts I have seen. So that is definitely but we've always been wanting some answers for this case. So there are some answers. So I can give you that. It's, that happened. So people were like, they wanted to make a big conspiracy theory about like, there was never that video, that never happened. Well, okay. So now they know that happened. So let's go from there. And then what other questions you have?
My other questions I had was that, like, could he have not, like, scared them off that, but made up some kind of excuse why, can you come on down, can we go down the hill? I want to show you, see there, I lost my dog, could you help me look for him? I lost my son, I lost my daughter, can you help me look for it? Like, we don't know, like, could there possibly be a reason that wasn't that he was, like, really scaring them? They might have felt like this isn't right, this doesn't feel right, but did he have some kind of a ploy, to get them down there that was...
Oh, I think it was at that point, like when it was, he had advanced upon them so much, and it was already at the, like, it's like the, let's say like the back alley of a back alley of a back alley. That's what it feels like. So I, that's what, and they were shocked. There's no path to go on. So yeah, if they would have ran deeper into the woods, maybe like, a mile in, they would have gotten to like another neighborhood. But when you're a kid, you don't, I don't know, when I was 13, 14, I didn't really even visualize that. So if I was at, my parents dropped me off at like this place we called Brum Woods or whatever. I could see houses in the background, but like if there was a creepy guy, I probably still would have ran towards the front. Like, so it was like the perfect trap. So he got them at the right time at the very, very end of the bridge, and there was no place to go. So it was very quick, and it was like, well, hi. There's no. He's like down the hill, and they go, there's no path. There's no path. He goes down. So I think they said no. There's no path, and he goes down the hill. And it happened really quickly.
But so when they're on that part of the bridge, how do they get down the hill?
Okay, so
because they're up really high at this point, right?
Yes. Okay, so they're up really high, and so they call it north to south. It confuses me. So let's say the beginning to the end of the bridge. So the beginning of the bridge, they've now made it like tourists can go out there, to a certain degree. But still, like, if you cross the bridge, I can show you a video of someone crossing the bridge, walking across it. It takes her about 6 minutes. She's hitting every, to me, I would panic right or left, but she crosses it. And so when you go over, I guess, the part of the creek that's very beautiful, wide open, that's, again, the first, like, fifth of this bridge. So after that, you are kind of going into, like it's getting creepy. And so it is a scenario of, like, oh, well, maybe this guy's coming back because he owns the land over here or something. So let's just get off the bridge and let him pass, and then we'll pass back over. And instead, he came up really quick and was like, no, guys, down the hill.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up a picture of it because it's just, let me see here.
No, I would definitely, like,
Is it? I'm just wondering, like, where, because you have to go, how far did they have to walk to get to the point where they could go down the hill?
Great question. No, it was right there.
So okay, they were all the way at that part. Okay.
Right at the end. I would say that was right at the end.
Okay.
I can show you I have definitely walked where I think they crossed. So I don't know if I can show you tonight, but I will definitely walk it. But so, I mean, it's like the end of it's like kind of meeting somebody in the end of, like, the dusty, or like the abandoned parking lot. Like, it really is this, so other people are like, well, why didn't they run to the house? And, like, they're 13 and 14. And
yeah. And they probably weren't, like, thinking anything like that, or
no. And when you don't have, like, my parents, like, it was a very logical thing. Like, I don't know. They were responsible girls. They really were. So the rumors that are being portrayed about them is very, like, that's really heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's horrible.
And I know you dealt with, like, doxing and all these kind of things. So, like, that's what I think is the family is dealing with right now, and it's horrible.
Right, yeah. That's terrible. So then he got them down the hill, and then supposedly, right, what they're saying is that he was going to do something, essay them, but then a van came upon him, and he freaked out, and he couldn't do it, so then he just killed them.
So this is all new. That part is definitely new information, but yes. So I still even need to kind of, like, gather that. I could show you some videos of like, definitely I'll walk through it and show you exactly the path. I won't cross the bridge, but also now, because they don't let you cross the bridge.
Well, now I'm seeing pictures. They have guardrails on it.
That first, like, the first part of it.
Okay.
So, right now they're making it, like, safe, and, like, now it's like you go out there. It's like going to the zoo on, like, a field trip.
Right, I'm looking at it now.
It
got guardrails, and it looks like it even has, I don't know what they put on there. It almost looks like vinyl on the floor, but I can't.
So the bridge goes out to a certain point. No, I definitely walked the creek, and I can show you where they walked across. So I still need to wait for a little more information to find out if they went straight across or if they went kind of horizontal. I've got those videos for you. So he definitely, I guess the thing is that some people are saying they couldn't believe that this all happened in the middle of the day and that one man did it. So it seems like the gruesome crime scene doesn't match Richard Allen. All right, I get that because he doesn't seem to have a history. However, we just don't know what we don't know yet. So there are many channels that have talked about, like, him being when he was a Walmart, he was their supervisor, and there were two girls that were a couple, and I guess they were kind of teenage-ish, college age, working together, and he would always he'd follow them into the bathroom, and he would, if they drove somewhere, he'd like, I'm gonna go with you, and he's like, well, what if we all hang out together, us three, like, kind of things. So, and they're like, well, we just knew he was creepy, but we just never thought he would hurt somebody. So this Richard Allen is completely innocent shtick is like, maybe, but like, let's just wait till all of it comes out.
Yeah.
So I think so. There is bad grammar. Right. His Google searches are going to be out, or his internet searches, like maybe, but right now, one of the things that was released is at least his Netflix searches. So I sent you that if you want to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me get that.
That's new.
Yeah, it's just that, you just wish they had some more evidence linking him, but his wife standing by him.
Oh, they do.
They do. Why do you think she's standing by him? Is that just for her own image and for the family's image, or?
Okay, so I can definitely talk on this because I have sat behind, like, there's no cameras in the courtroom. I've sat behind her last June, and then there's a 3-day hearing recently, so I've sat behind her almost every time I've been in the courtroom. And I would say that last June, June 2023, no, June, yes.
Last June is June 2024, but do you mean 2023? That would be, yeah, it's June 2023.
2023, so
right.
Last June,
yep.
Right? Okay, So, they had a full day hearing, and that's when, so I sat behind her, and basically every time I've gone to the courtroom since, about 10 times, I always, like, it just happens to be I sit right behind her.
Right.
So, I do watch her mannerisms. I mean, his daughter never goes. I mean, it's just been her and her mother. So his daughter doesn't go. So what I think about Kathy is that she is not sure, and she's literally kind of manipulated by him, and also manipulated a little bit by the defense attorneys, because there is, when he's in his confessions, he's called her and said, I want to confess. And she's like, no, you wouldn't do that. No, don't do that. And then she says, well, we're going to call Brad. Well, that's his attorney. And then they call Brad, and then, and then that kind of stops. So.
Okay. So these things, I can read these out now. Let me see. So this is around August of 2022. Richard Allen searched for Delphi murder updates, Texas elementary school shooting, disturbing and terrifying things on Netflix, more searches for Delphi, murder updates, and just Delphi in general. In October of 2022, last entry, it says, best kidnapping and hostage movies ever made, man held against his will, in parentheses, a movie, man held hostage by a teen, killing of a sacred deer. And then it says May of 2020, search Delphi murders, news stories about Delphi, rifle ranges and applied ballistics. And then it says April of 2022, Should I Die Now, most disturbing movie ever, what is the darkest, and then 4 asterisks, I guess is for SHIT, on Netflix. Okay, so those are Google searches. Okay, my devil's advocate here, right? So did they not find any searches in 2017, 2018, 2019? Were his devices gone from, at that time?
Okay, good question. So I also don't know where they pulled this from, because it sounds like they're only like, I know that they have more Google searches, like they have more. They haven't released it, so I don't know why they only like did one category. But I will say that the one thing that stands out is that he has so many phones, and the one phone that they cannot find or was missing is the 2017 phone. So that's the phone that is apparently missing. So
Okay, but here's something else. If they know his, can't they get that from his, like, it's kept in a cloud somewhere, or they don't have anything that they can get from his phone? I'm trying to think, like, everything transfers over from my phone to my phone to my phone from as long as I've had an iPhone, right?
yeah.
So is
you're
there
right.
nothing that they can get from him from 2017, 2018, 2019, from that day?
No, I think there is. I just think that we haven't heard it yet.
But
So
you
those
think
are
the
good- those are great
prosecution
questions.
would have brought it out, wouldn't they? They rested their case.
They rested their case, and then they laid out all of his searches. And so only one news reporter shared some of those searches. So it feels like they shared one category, if that makes sense. Like, because I've definitely heard about his. I've heard some rumors about his sexual searches. I can drop one if you, but those are just rumors. So
Okay.
I think that we just don't know yet.
Yeah, I'm just curious because, because they could say, like, again, devil's advocate, okay, yeah, so he searched the Texas school shooting. So did a lot of people.
Correct.
I mean, like, that's what we all say here. If they ever looked at some of our searches, because we do these crimes and we put these crazy things in there, right? So, yeah, I mean, and then they could say, look, he lives right around Delphi. Why wouldn't he be interested? Wouldn't you be interested? I bet you 90% of you have searches relating to Delphi on your computers.
Right.
So I mean, it's not that I see like something like, oh my gosh, that's so damning,
Right.
Like as if you would say something like, along the lines of, I'm trying to think, like, can I, like, just like how, like, Nicole Kessinger, she searched for how long does, what was it that she did there? If you are certain how to, somebody goes to jail, or how long does something stay on your phone, or if you delete that, I mean, even that wasn't even that bad. But like, which I'm thinking of Letitia Stout, like her searches were, how do your child and your stepchild, all that stuff with the relationship, and then about burns in the rug, stains in the rug, stuff like that, or if somebody's searching, how to get rid of a dead body, or
Right. So, again, their whole strategy from the get-go has been about keeping it close to the chest, to the vest.
right.
And, granted, nowadays, like, I think that they took an investigative strategy that they thought was right at the time, maybe by FBI profiling or whatever, and then it spanned 7 to 8 years. So, and what happened between then? COVID, and everyone cut the cable, and everyone started doing YouTube, and like it's just been such a transformation that, so they just had to I think they thought the guy was going to be caught that year. So, so what I'll say is that with Brian Kohberger, it was his what do you call it, like PC. Probable cause affidavit, or
Right.
Yeah, was that way more damning? Yes, it was. But I think that sometimes, like, I don't know, in this case they put just enough to get the guy arrested, and I think the bullet was the match. And I don't know where I'm trying to go with this. Is I don't think they would choose the same investigative strategy now as they did back then, because it's definitely not been doing them well. It's just not good on YouTube and all these social media platforms. It's like everybody wants answers. So, and then lock out all the public, like that's pretty. People aren't happy. It's not good.
No, and why are they doing that? Do you know the reason they're doing that?
Well, I could definitely share with you.
Off
like in another time. Well, I mean, so is there a organized group that kind of goes around and doxes people and stuff like that? I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's just strange. Like they just like locked everybody out. It's not even like like with Lori Vallow, they would play it later on in the day. You know, but we get nothing, right? So it's that should have happened. That's weird.
So I definitely want to talk with you.
Okay.
Because there's some people that keep showing up on these cases, and it's like, why do they show up in all these cases? So maybe.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay. So then, so your thoughts on it? You believe he's done it? There's no doubt in your mind?
No, no, I'm waiting for all of it, but I can say that things that have influenced me is that the defense attorneys have used a habeas corpus lawyer who, you know, I graduated from IU grad school. I wasn't in law, but I have friends that are still like going there, and he taught a class, and so he was having his class research for this case. And then he, you know, when you call it a gag order, okay, like I guess it's like weird law term, like gag, okay, fine. But so he overdid it on his Twitter, and every time he said it's a gag order, he'd show a woman being gagged.
Oh.
And it really didn't go over very well.
No.
So, no, right? Like, I mean, I don't even need to show you to know that's not going to go over well. So, I've also known that person was like, he's also telling people he's a habeas corpus attorney. So saying like, well, they've got nothing, so he's going to be charged. So I'm going to be the person who's going to come in on appeal. I'm like, well, should you say that? So that's, I guess, kind of where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I know, because like Scooter's like 100% convinced he's the only one, and that he did this. But I mean, it's like I saw someone and I was shocked because it was a lawyer and, you know, reporting on this case.
Lawyer Lee?
No. Somebody else. I had never even heard of them before. But I was surprised because she was very upset with the judge and felt like the judge was just so unfairly favoring the prosecution. And then that Odinism, you know, all that, felt that should have been brought in.
Well, so that's the 3-day hearing in July to August that I did sit through. And so on the last day, they brought in Perlmutter. So she was the Odin specialist who wanted to talk about the crime scene and she was convinced it was a ritualistic killing. And for like, I mean, you don't get water, you don't get bathroom breaks. You have to sit there. It takes everything out of you, and it sounds crazy, but everyone, I don't know. When I go there, I'm just kind of like sick for days. But that day, so I at least sat there. I was very sick so I didn't stay for the afternoon, which was the blood spatter expert. However, I did listen to the Perlmutter testimony. So it was about 5 hours. So one of the things that was interesting is the deception detective when he's talking about Koberger, he's a very good video because he says that the defense attorneys, they really can't, because I don't know what they're able to do or not do, but he says defense attorneys can't knowingly lie or mislead the court. So what he'll say is that, is this the better statement? Koberger was innocent because he was not there, or he was stargazing, or the evidence will show that Koberger was stargazing. So he says that they can actually say, the second one, the evidence will show that.
Mm-hmm.
So that actually made sense because that day it was like 5 hours. I'm like, why is this like the defense attorney telling us what he's going to tell us for about an hour and a half? And then, then he tells us, then he brings the expert on, and then, so it's almost like, to me, it was so overkill. And I'm like, but he knows better than this. So, and then upon cross-examination, it was like 10 minutes, and it would just brought me back out of, I can explain that too. Just really because it brought me out of the thing of like, this is ritualistic killing, this is satanic, all this stuff. But the point is that he, now looking back, he had to say, I feel like he had to say, the evidence will show you this. Like, he had to do that to be able to present it in court, if that makes sense.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I'm just guessing, so I would love to show you these videos and have you actually lay it down, Pat.
Because the girls did have sticks placed on their bodies, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, what, it was that, did that conceal them in some way? Were they leafy? They weren't like leafy branches, were they?
Okay, I've got a visual for you. No, that's a very good point.
It's different. Like, why did he do that? Did it conceal them at all? Did it help to conceal them?
Sure. Okay, so I can go back to, I will have a visual for you, but I could say with the Perlmutter testimony, so she was the Odin expert, said, well, obviously, I really have to walk it back, but it was kind of...
I read that whole thing. Remember when they came out with that? I read that on here. So I do know they said, it was triangle, right?
Yeah. So
and that was the symbolism for the Odinism, and that was their whole thing.
So that she also said there's 1 through 7 of what makes it of any kind of crime scene that makes it a ritualistic sacrificial killing. And then upon cross it was really 1 through 7, this is basically any murder. Was it indoors or outdoors?
Right.
Number 1. Those are okay. Number 2, so it just really... Okay, so it was basically also hey, this man, the sticks were placed. They were not random. Let's be clear about that.
Okay.
They were placed. However, there are different reasons that, okay, so I'm trying to show you one thing it
could be somebody trying to, if you found searches that he did about Odinism and ritualistic killing, and then he did that,
there you go.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's very, very well. So that's the question that brought me out of, so I listened to Perlmutter for about 4 hours, and then on cross, the prosecution goes up there and he, so here's the questions he asked. He got me very well. He said, well, okay, so let's say, all right, you said it was done with a ritualistic knife, and that knife is very important to them, and they keep it, and it, so are you sure that this was done by a knife? And she's like, I can't be sure. Okay. She's like, well, what if I told you it was a box cutter? She's like, oh, well, I don't know. Well, because she said that whatever the weapon was ceremonial, and they've kept it, and it's been very important. So at that point, about a couple months ago, we kind of learned that they think it's a box cutter.
Right, and they found lots of box cutters at his house, right?
No, he claimed no. They found tons of knives and machetes and
Yeah, and I thought they found, maybe I'm mistaken, I thought they found a lot of box cutters, but they also said they found no DNA on anything to link him.
well, correct. So he does say his testimony is that he killed them with a box cutter, and that he threw it away. He had stolen that box cutter from CVS, and he threw it away in the CVS. Oh, I'll drive by and I will take a video for you tomorrow. That he threw it in the CVS dumpster the next day.
I wonder if they probably never went to CVS and would know if a box cutter was missing.
Oh, so there's been a lot of people talking about like they worked in Walmart or CVS, because he's been in Walmart, CVS, different places of unpacking, and so a lot of them have box cutters for like the trucks that come in.
Right.
They've got to take out the shipments, so it's but it definitely lines up with the injury. So I mean, if you hear, I've heard rumors over the years, and it was just that there was rumors that Abby was kind of like almost like pierced like by an arrow or something, and so now it kind of adds up that like I think he like blitzed, like he just took the box cutter and went straight, like kind of stabbed her directly in the throat. And with Libby though, he did like he tried to do 4 or 5 cuts, like tried, yeah. I'll save that for, but
what do you think about the bullet? Do you think it was unspent? So,
yep.
like, what was that about? Like, someone could say, well, maybe that was planted. I know they're trying to say that. Like, how does that even happen?
So the unspent, it's the same as like if you put it into the cartridge and then you, anytime, even if you eject it or unspent or whatever, it still has the same
marks. There's marks on it that show it went through his gun. Yeah, but why would it be there on the ground between the 2 girls?
So the idea would be that he had it and he didn't, like, that he kind of cocked it once to like maybe scare them down the bridge, and then he like cocked it or tried to, I don't know gun stuff, but like closed it another time and then didn't. So I genuinely don't think he thought his bullet was there. However, so I think that was like, because the other things I'm hearing is that he's saved like it was like an exclusive type of gun, it was whatever, and that he saved something in some kind of ceremonial box. I don't know. So there was like one missing, and I'm not quite sure because I don't know guns enough. But if he cocked it enough to make that sound, I actually don't want to act like I'm a gun expert any more than this, but Judy Ron, actually, you know Judy Ron?
Yeah.
Okay, he has a great video on it. He would love to. He's like, anybody that wants to show it, please do. He explains it way better than I could.
Okay. The other thing I have to, what was I going to say about? Oh, gosh, now I just lost what I was going to say. So the girls, we were talking about the gun, him, the crime scene. Okay, so he's looking at this crime scene. He's going to leave. He puts the sticks down. And then he just goes on his little merry way. And if he did this, right? He's never killed before that we know of, right? And he never went and did anything after. Now, is that very unusual that you would never do anything prior, then kill 2 young girls, and then never do anything after? Or are there things that can be tied to him?
There are things that can be tied to him, for sure. But also, if we back up a little bit about the sticks. So
right.
He was in the Army Reserve. He's a short man. So a lot of the conspiracy theories, and I believed it. I mean, I was there because I watched the Gebo. It's like a Gebo rune. I can show you. So it looks like some people who are into this. It's a rune. I didn't know what runes were, but so back in 2017, a lot of people, which Perlmutter said it was magical thinking. So, I mean, call it what you want to call
Wow.
it, or, like a lot of people call it law of attraction. Who knows? I don't know. But it matched this. So my thought is, yeah, sure. But could Richard Allen have been into this Odin thing and wanted to do a Geberun? Absolutely. So why does it have to be either Richard Allen or an Odinist, like 12 people sacrificing? So the whole point on the cross for Perlmutter was when the prosecutor said, well, what if I'm in a gang? Let's say I'm in a gang and I, go rogue and I commit some kind of murder over here. So does that mean that that we can now attribute this whole murder to a sacrificial gang killing from? And she's like, of course not. So it's like, okay, so yeah, Richard Allen might have had ties, might have known about it, might have even but like that doesn't mean that it was a scenario where they brought the girls. They think they hung them upside down from a tree, drained their blood, all that stuff.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so no.
What about the different clothing?
Oof.
Didn't one of the girls have the other girl's clothing on?
Yes.
So how did he do, like, how did that come about?
So at one point, so I guess I could just say from what I've heard, question answer. Okay, so at one point,
Because I'm just gonna say, like, this is a nice day, right? It's February 13th, and it was a weekend, right?
Mm-hmm. No, it was a Monday.
It was a Monday, but it wasn't a holiday?
Nope, it was basically like in Indiana, like they used to say, like, because no, it was basically like a possible school day off. It was,
yeah, the girls didn't have school, though. That's what I mean, right?
They didn't have school.
So the
correct.
kids in the area
But
didn't have school.
Yeah. So
right,
some
okay.
people would know they didn't have school.
So, I mean, and this is like, wouldn't he be, if he's so scared about that white van, and why was he scared about the white van? Was that the only vehicle that came near? Like,
okay, so yes, if I could show you the area, that I think is what a lot of people think. A lot of people think that's the clutch reason, or that's the thing that really like sets it apart, because he would have said guys down the hill, and if they went down the hill and all the timeline adds up, to the phones, to the movement, everything, then he says that he had grabbed a 6-pack. He drank 3 beers before he went out there, and I think that there were a lot of other women out there, but I think Abby and Libby were the only ones who crossed the bridge. So, because really it puts you in a perfect trap, and he said he just wanted to get them below the bridge, so like just a little bit down to molest them, and then a white van came across and it startled him. So he'd already had them stripped. They were carrying their own clothing, and then he says, so this is the unclear part. It's like across, I don't know, I still don't know where they crossed, but what he's saying is that he was just gonna like molest them or rape them, and he got startled, so he made them cross the creek, and then he just had to kill them. So he like had to do it really quick. So I think that when they say it all happened by 3:30, I think it was really quick, and I don't think the girls even expected that kind of a scenario to happen. So I don't know where the clothes in the creek are still to be determined.
yeah, that whole thing, like, okay, so then he would have had to also then have 2 girls, and then he's walking back with 2 girls in the creek, and, he's got the gun. Are they walking ahead of him? He's got the gun behind them.
Right.
The other thing, I now remember what I was going to ask you before. Didn't they say that they searched that place and the girls weren't there?
Yes. Yes. Great questions. And all of this has been answered for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think it's about showing the location and the area. So I I've been out there and I was totally like on one conspiracy theory, like definitely like there's no way they didn't find them, this and this. But now when they explained it, like they had so many searchers, like basically downriver, down creek, and where they were was like almost like a mile up creek, past a ravine, and so at that night. So even when I've gone there times before, I had to walk way up. Like you just don't kind of, I don't know, like you don't. I went down the wrong path. I went down the same path that Derek German like thought was the right path and went down that one. So I get that. And then it was way up creek. So, but also they were not, they were just expecting like, I mean, this bridge is so high. So they're like, maybe one of them fell, and then they, like, nobody was expecting like them to actually be dead along the sides. There was just, if they were going to be missing, they would probably be looking like farther, or they walked home on country roads. Like, I don't think anybody really thought they'd be right around the bridge.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Well, they did. They searched around the bridge, but like maybe a mile or two up, you know, like that.
Yeah.
So
it's just strange, like, and just all those years, and especially he's a drinker. A lot of people, and they were going to bars and stuff. Like, it's that he didn't tell somebody something or say something to someone.
well, he did.
Yeah, did he?
Yes. So that's the whole thing, is that that's how they found him, is because he did go and report that he was there that day.
Yeah, that I mean, but I mean, you know, like how somebody could get drunk and say, well, oh, you know, the guy that killed them probably had to do this. I bet you he had a gun and he did it this way. Almost like OJ with, I didn't do it, but if I did it, this is how I would have done it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's, yes.
Yeah.
That's the rumor. There's
Right.
rumors that he confessed one night to his son and or whatever, like his daughter's, you know, husband. But I definitely can't confirm that. So, and that would come out in court, I guess, if it was true. But that's been, because she, you know, his daughter, or like, they've never gone. It's only basically been Kathy and Richard Allen's mother.
Mm-hmm. And his stepfather, right?
Only a few days, yes, and then a sister.
And they're all supporting him, right?
So, well, I guess, I don't know. I try not to ask. I don't really ask them.
Because, I mean, he was saying in those confessions that they said, like, I did this, I think I did this, you know, are you still going to love me? Are you still going to be there for me? I can't take it if you're not.
Correct. So, but that was also a long time, like a while back. So as it's replayed, there's been times, I guess, where Kathy has, so there's one of the videos they played is where she is crying and she asks him, you said you were just on the trails, not on the bridge. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the things. So, I'm not sure if she's still coming to terms with things or not. There's times where she said, I'm done. She said, I'm over this. But so I have concerns, though, that the defense attorneys are kind of almost building like their hopes up on a, you know, foundation of sand, and I just don't want it to crumble. Like, there is, I would say, like, so that is a little bit of a concern, is like, I think there's times where Richard Allen might have wanted to confess fully, and they said, well, no, we're going to call Brad or something. So that could be an issue. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, you know, it's hard. It's like really hard not being able to see the trial or any of the stuff, and then just getting it through either reporters or somebody else, because you just don't understand why it's so secretive. But um,
Yeah.
why would she be standing like, okay, if that's your husband, couldn't you see that that's your husband if it is your husband? Like, wouldn't you see, like, wow, that's your jacket? Like, it's my husband. I'm like, gosh, he's wearing the same jacket you have, and those are the same, and those are your shoes, right? Um, how do you not see that if you're the wife?
So there's a lot that I think that is still to come out, so I feel like at the last hearing or something, there was talk about how he told his lawyers that Kathy had gone to work and he called off work that day and he just stayed in bed. And then Kathy got home at like 5 or 6 p.m. because she worked at a vet tech clinic or whatever. And so he was dealing with depression. And so she came home and he was in the same spot. So there's that story that we heard from the lawyers. Now there's another story though, that what we've heard. So I just don't know when they're all going to blend together. It's kind of interesting. So then the other story was that what they're saying now is that he was at his mother's and he left and he got a 6-pack. And so then it was like, well, then where is this part about, I don't know, where is Kathy? What does Kathy know or not know? Now, but I will say that she gets really upset. And what she has said is, you told me you were just on the trails, not on the bridge. So, I mean, that takes a strong degree of denial. However, there's some other rumors, I'll just say, that because he also did not want her to, because, I mean, this is a very small town. So it's like, why aren't, everyone was searching. And so apparently he said he did not want her to be searching that night. And then the other rumor was that she did go to I think they definitely had people sign in and out of the funeral service. I don't know why, but I think that she signed in and used her maiden name. I've heard that. I can't say that's true. Okay. So her maiden name would be Kathy Walker, but so she went to the funeral service of the girls, or the showing of, yeah. So
yeah, I just don't know. I mean, it's been like 2 years. It's what, 2 years since he was arrested?
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's had time with him out, like, even if she was standing by him. Now, did they find, I know they say a Carhartt-like jacket they found, but did they find the same cap? Did they find the same jacket? Or like, this looks like that jacket? Like,
yes.
do they have pictures of him ever wearing that cap, Richard Allen?
Yes.
That same type of cap?
Yeah. Yes. And I know, right? We want more specific answers to this, but
yeah.
Well, one of the bigger things that they're talking about right now is about a witness who saw him walking muddied or bloodied. And did she say muddied or bloodied? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, Rosalita.
So there's so much to this.
Yeah,
but,
Rosalita said, yes, Carolyn, I agree. I know all my husband's clothing. I buy it, I wash it, and I put it away. How could she not recognize, like, hey, that is your freaking coat. Those are your pants. That looks just like you. You have your hat on,
Okay, so they did take that coat. They did, yes. So they have that. So you'd think, like, so when they say there's absolutely zero DNA, we also have to think that, no, they have DNA, but here's the deal, is that when it's mixed, like two blood types mixed, Abby and Libby's mixed together, or there was, somebody, he touched her with his fingerprints, but then Libby's blood's all over it, like, then there's no DNA. I mean, so it's hard, like, when people just, like, come across these blanket statements that there's no DNA, like, it's like, that's not really accurate. But and I think one of the, I call you mommy ramblings, but, like, you've been part of this since like day one. And there's some, I think the thing that bothers me most is there's some people coming in from like Law 2, and they are trying to like make a buck and slamming the families and just like letting it's taking
You
their
mean
own.
slamming Abby and Libby's family?
Oh yeah,
That's terrible. Oh.
I know. So I want yes, and it's one, you know, one Law 2 person who's really excited to get all this fame and fortune, and she's filing all these like, you know, appeals because she's a lawyer.
Does her name begin with an A?
Yep.
You know, I never heard of this person, and recently she was coming in my feed, and I was looking at the number of people that were in her stream, and I was like, wait a minute. So then I looked and oh, she's an attorney. Oh, okay. And then I'm like, okay, so she's new to this, huh?
Yeah, but yes,
Okay.
very well. I mean, I think she's using this to, you know,
Yeah. I mean, you're always going to have those kind of people, I think, unfortunately, but it's terrible if you slam in the family. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not cool.
and well, she's making like about 3,000 to 5,000 a night on super chats, and some
Oh,
of the
I imagine, yeah.
yeah, some of the family is just like from out of town or just trying to like, you know, they work waitress jobs or something. So like for them to take a whole month off, like that's really hard. But she's just, you know, that's
Crazy.
I just want to report it accurately. So
Yeah. But
I would gladly. I probably need to go to bed, but I would gladly.
so that type of tuber is pro. It doesn't think Richard Allen did it. Is that
Yeah.
yeah?
I mean, right? Yeah. So,
Okay.
but I'm like, on what base? So, yeah, but on what basis? So it's also like at this point we know that the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, ISP, and all these people were involved to indict this man. So it's like, what kind of a global, like, how I'm all about conspiracy theories. I even believed it for a long time. I was like, this, it can't be this one man. But yet, how are we going to, like, really, the amount of people that it's going to take to make this a massive cover up is just astronomical. And, you know, most of the time, some of these things are more on incompetence. I mean, it was a small town. We've never had a double murder. It's not even my town. It's, you know,
Right.
but it's another indie. But like, it's more on like they're trying their best. I mean, but really, the U.S. Marshals and FBI or whatever, all these people are overseeing it. You think that it's gonna like, all these people are making a massive cover up to just railroad one guy. I mean, it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah. Just that you just wish they'd have just a little bit more, but I just think that his wife is really throwing me, you know, for a loop after, because let's just say she's doing it because I've heard people say, well, she's doing it because she has a daughter and she doesn't want all this hate to come out. So, oh yeah, let's just keep saying he's innocent, he didn't do this. I wonder what would happen if, let's just say he's found innocent. What would, if she divorces him like in a month, right?
She's already been there.
Then you'd say, okay, she knew he was guilty. She was saving face for the family just in case. But you know, how would that discuss? You know, he's like, oh, I want everybody to stand by me, blah blah blah. But if she really, really knows, and I think she would know, either by stuff he's done with, like just like Rosalita said, the clothing and stuff. If that really is him, and she knows that he did this, how could she just stand by?
Correct. So,
you know, I mean,
one thing I'm learning is that he might have been more of a I did not hear the calls to her in their discussions, but people felt like it was just shockingly manipulative. Like it was an unhealthy relationship to begin with, and how he just, I mean, again, like lives on power and control. He's a tiny man, but like, so he was just like unemotional, but like, you know me, you know me.
Mm-hmm.
And so making her discredit her own feelings about that. So that's one thing. She has definitely, there was a part where I was sitting behind her one day, and I'm not going to say anything more to this, but she did not have her wedding ring on. And other people have discussed with her or heard her saying that some things that she said of, I'm separated from him, I'm just here because of her, which is Janice's mother. I don't really want to go into that because I
Right.
can't confirm, but I did see that. So I've like sat behind her, and she's stoic. And well, I will say this from sitting behind her multiple times, that I will say that she was believing in him. And then there was one time where you could tell that she was just there to support him. There was another time though where I was concerned for them, because I feel like the defense came in and made them. So they left during the blood spatter evidence. Or blood spatter testimony. So there's a part that seems like, so I felt like, I guess I have to say that I felt like her nodding or was more about like believing the defense's story, that they're kind of weaving and winding, and it just didn't really make sense. And then so they left for a crucial part that would have kind of destroyed that. And the defense attorneys came up and told them, like, here's what's going to happen next. And then they left.
Mm-hmm.
So, take that as what you will. But.
And then she was gone for these videos. Were you in the court when they showed these videos?
I was not.
Okay. And then apparently, so from what they said, it's from when he was in, how he was treated in jail, right? And he was, but like all the stuff like that he was wiping feces, they say even he was eating feces, washing his face with the toilet water. Was he trying to make himself look insane? What was all of that about?
June of last year, and I will call names. So it was, so there's part of it like where I understand why they're blocking down media so much, but I wish they would also like kind of not do that, because otherwise, I mean, did you watch the Johnny Depp Amber Heard stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What did you think?
I mean, I covered the trial. Are you talking about the trial?
Yeah.
The defamation trial? What did I think about what? Which part of it?
Are you...
Oh, I was for Johnny Depp.
Yes. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So, but I don't know if we wouldn't have seen that had we, what would we have thought? So...
I don't know. I think You mean her recordings and stuff and all this stuff she did, and then we have been this finger, part of his finger?
So it was also having us all see it.
Yeah.
Or had they not done that, we could still be saying, so yeah, we all saw it unfold, so that's why I kind of wanted this to be. I wanted this to be like televised or whatever.
And it should have been. I really do think it should have been after all these years and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So So let's say like last June was it was a hearing day, a hearing. I don't even know these like terminologies. I just went because it was one of those things you could get into, and it's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So what they covered all day was about Richard Allen, and that's after they showed that video or that photo of him in jail with his like hand bent over.
Oh yeah, yeah. And there's like a stain on his shirt. And
Yes,
yeah.
correct. So what I got from me sitting there all day long, I could tell you that the back and forth, what I gathered and what the judge gathered and all of us gathered, I felt like was okay. It was pretty obvious. All right, you guys did this because he confessed, or he made a confession. So we get it. You got to do this, and then you want him moved. Okay, so I mean that, and then I was literally saying, okay, well the next thing they're gonna have to do next, if he confessed and they had to like kind of fudge this, the next thing they're gonna have to do is mess with the time frame, because he put himself there from 1:30 to 3:30. What did they do? They messed with the time frame. They tried to change. It was he wasn't watching the stock ticker or whatever. He was, they keep trying to change it, like, oh no, he was only there from 12 to 1:30. And so I knew that was like, that's going to be, to me, I was like, that's the next thing they're going to have to change. Now, I wish that we would have left that courtroom and it would have been reported accurately. I will say there's 2 people who went. And so now I'm more confident about being vocal and putting my side out, and, because I didn't know very well, but, there were 2 people who went out and told a side of the story that was not even accurate. So this wouldn't even have, had this been like, had you heard it like on recording, it would have never gotten past a day. But so there were 2 people reporting. Bob Mata is one, and then another person who's local, which she loves to like claim she's related to the family and then slams the family, which is very bizarre. So both of them were false reporting the entire time. So, and then, one of those people bought that person A, that we know, a spot in line, and since then, now everyone has to buy line sitters. So it's created, but then now they're mad about it and all this stuff. So it's just kind of,
yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, that's something.
But accurate reporting, I guess.
So now, are you going tomorrow, or are you going Tuesday?
Well, I could go a few days. I think the thing is they're saying that they have like 2 secret witnesses and they're going to close, or then they're going to arrest.
Yeah, that's what they said. Yeah, they said it could be but I
thought it was going to go till the 14th. So I guess I'm gonna like wait, see day by day. So
they may call I don't know. They may call his wife. They said to, but I don't know.
If they called
do you
her,
think they will?
It would be to say that she was the one who searched some of those Netflix searches, I guess.
That, into like what do they say, to kind of present him to the jurors as a little bit, because I mean he doesn't. I don't think he has any type of good, right? Like, he just looks really strange, right? And then if they're seeing all these videos where he's smearing feces on himself and eating I mean,
I'll say my prediction is that I have seen and watched the jurors, and I think that the defense team has ran it's like, if you run your theory by a bunch of YouTubers who are wanting to make a name, and they're saying, yeah, this is great, and like it didn't go over so well. So I think that some of the theories that they posited, the jury was like, what? Like they weren't buying into it, kind of. So it's like, maybe have a focus group who's not all just your YouTube supporters trying to, what they call them, grifters or cranks. So, I don't know. I don't think that the jury was, I just don't see how that made them sympathetic to him. I really don't.
Okay. Yeah, they were saying that a lot of them were disgusted even
Well, right. So you could listen to this channel and you could say they were disgusted. You could listen to the other channel and say they were emotionally torn up for Richard Allen. I mean,
yeah.
So who's to say?
Right. Yeah. You don't know, right? So wow.
So right. If I don't get into the courtroom because I don't know how long it's gonna last, I could definitely show you where I'm talking about, like where the girls crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm interested. Yeah, anything. I mean, it's like crazy. It feels like, you want to see it so badly, built up all these years, and then no, you can't see it. No, no trial for you.
Yeah.
It's like, and then if there was the promise of, okay, we can watch it after, or we're recording everything, and then you can, it's like, no.
Yeah. Right. So I guess. So I wasn't there for the crime scene photos. I heard that was, I mean, pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
I was at the coroner photos. So I mean, I could attest to the.
I'm most interested in, like, I like to read, like, the reports. Like they watch the interrogation, read the police reports, see about the search of his house, the pictures of his house.
Ooh, I'll send you the blood spatter report.
Stuff like that. Okay.
Please, and then because the reason that's important is because there's so many people who think they weren't. In order for it to be the Odin sacrifice, they think they took the girls away, hung them up like upside down, drained their blood, and then brought them back to the scene, and then turned on their phone at 4:33 a.m.
Yeah, I don't think that happened.
Okay, no. I don't think it did either. Well, and I think that's all the evidence. Like that's what they're trying to show is because otherwise, But I did kind of believe it for a little bit, but then I kind of came back down to earth. So if that didn't happen, then.
Right. It just seems to me like, okay, here's the other thing. What about this Keegan Kline guy?
Oh, I've got lots of thoughts.
Yeah, and
I kind of need your help in some of your research yourself.
Right, I think, like why are they, they brought so much with that he spoke with the girls, Keegan did.
Yeah.
Right? And so are they saying that that's just a coincidence? Because remember when Keegan Kline took them out to some scene of some river?
Yep.
Yeah. What was that all about?
So a lot of that. Okay. Well, one of the things that they've said is this has been. I mean, what you could probably say it better than I could. It's been one of the biggest CSAM investigations in Indiana history.
Okay.
So Doug Carter said that. So from that way back, so he's already been charged, and they've said that. And I mean, there is they just don't really announce that it's all connected. But I mean, there have been so many stings around here in Kentucky and of sex trafficking,
Right.
So I just wonder, and then I guess I just don't know if it's I'll just say my theory, and then. My theory is that at some point, how did Richard Allen get there? We don't know. How do you know girls were going to be there? So maybe a lot of people were sharing and dipping into some kind of a Dropbox. And a lot of people were. And I think there was a lot of different kind of weird sharing going on. Right.
I mean, if he was interested in the girls, then maybe he connected up with other people, right? That were...
Sure, and I think it could have been some kind of a Dropbox so big that they. Here's why I think they were so sure he's local. My theory is that they were so sure he's local because maybe there was some indication that I can't go meet him, but they're gonna be there, and it could be anybody from around the country, but yet somebody booked it there and was able to get there in the amount of time to be local.
Right. But the other thing is, then you could say also that's a big undertaking if he's never done anything before to take on two young girls, especially with him at that time. He was heavy, he was probably slow. They, you're going to take on two young girls. You know,
Yeah,
it's a lot. That's why I think people are saying, well, gosh, it had to be more than this one guy.
absolutely. I mean, yes, absolutely. Over 6. Yes, I've been there. So, agreed. Because right now, like the crime scene, all this doesn't seem to match Richard Allen. So in my head, it's gonna like they're gonna have to show how it matches. So when you there's more things that are coming out about him and his things that he was into. So when he was a manager, he would often target these two. They were a lesbian couple. He would kind of creep them out. So I can send you that video. But there's also, and then the internet searches. There's more internet searches that I don't know when or where they're coming in.
Yeah, but you think like his wife, if his wife would just say, come and say, okay, I know I found this stuff, and then, yeah, he's sick. Because I did think that, as long as they've been together, if he had stuff like that he was into, wouldn't she know it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, apparently they had I mean, I got to see this too of like a whole who has a knife. It's like a knife collection, all up on their bedroom of all kinds of knives, katanas down to whatever, like hanging on the side bed. So I don't know. There's that.
Yeah, okay, but that's different than being into little girls.
True,
right?
But
yeah.
that's why they wanted to.
Because the knife collection, you could say, oh, maybe he's, but
the knife. But would you have the knife collection like to your right, like on your bedroom, like?
No, I wouldn't. But maybe some guy, says, oh, I want to sleep with this in case somebody comes in. I don't know. But
decor. So
yeah, not decor. No.
Yeah, it was decor.
Maybe in a man cave or something if they want that. But
so I mean, I guess her question, here's the deal, is that she was kind of blind to betrayal because her question was to him is, I knew you said you were on the trail. You didn't tell me you were on the bridge. So I mean, also, but how long did she know that he came forward or whatever, and so maybe he kept telling her, well, they don't call me back, so obviously I gave everything I needed to know. I don't know, but he so I guess at some point he admitted he was on the bridge versus he wasn't on the bridge, and
yeah, I don't know. Either she's there are people like that. There are people that can put their head in the sand and keep it there, even when stuff comes up. And then there's people like my type that's like, it could be about nothing. Like, oh, did you go to the post office and say, oh, and then everything would show me. Like, if someone's trying to tell me they didn't do something, I'm usually really good. I'll catch them in something. Like my kids would never, don't ever lie to me because I'll catch you in it, And it's easy for me because, I don't know, I just pay attention to a lot of details. Mm-hmm. So if someone says, oh, no, I didn't go there, and then I went, oh, no, okay. But I'm thinking of something huge like this. How are you married to someone and they've done this and you're not going to find out some way? That's a chunk of time that he was there, or, how do you not find this out when that car was parked at the CPS building and all that stuff?
I would agree with you, and I would think that I was surprised because it seems like if he's, I don't know, that maybe she could do better than him. I don't know, but I gather that from what I've heard people say, they heard on the confession tapes that he is a master manipulator to his mom and her, and when he confessed to her, he was just almost just trying to make her cry, to control from, it's about, Doug Carter said, it's about power and control to you. He also because he goes on hunger strikes. He'll not eat for 4 meals, but then when it comes to the 5th one, he'll eat.
Right. Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah,
But then he became real proud of his weight loss too, though, they said.
right. So from what I gathered, you're completely right. So she is sat in front of me, and I guess the whole point is that, like, every time I walk past her, I just don't say anything. I don't look at her because I can't be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry for what you're going through, because that wouldn't be but maybe recently I felt like maybe she is a victim and didn't know, like she's a victim of his too, because he's very emotionally manipulative. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just
it's
it's just hard to believe, like, with all of this and all those years, that, let's say, if those of us that believe he did do this, in all those years, having that hanging over your head, like, are they going to come and get me now? Like, did he ever act like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what you would think that any kind of police around or something strange, he may be, like, on edge.
Right. So there has been times, which, I mean, this is all things that need to come out, is that there was a time apparently where he pulled a gun on her. There was a domestic call, and he was very wasted, and so that happened at some point.
Right.
That was something.
Oh yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah.
But
well, I can say this, that I just won't confirm it, but the last time I was there, I would say by the 3rd day, there was the 3-day trials, 3-day hearings. Okay. And I will say that she showed up, and she was not wearing her wedding ring.
Right.
And I didn't, but some people heard her say, that she talked to, she said, I'm over it. I'm just here because I'm supporting Janice, which is,
His mother.
like, yes. So, and they said that she said that after she heard, after the blood spatter evidence, which I'll send you, the blood spatter testimony, because she said that lines up with what he told me. Okay. So, but then so I will say that I've seen her, I can tell when she's, like, nodding along, and then, like, no, this isn't true. And then, so there was one day I was like, okay, she's just not. So then there was I guess I can't even remember the days exactly, but the point is that there was another day where she was just nodding along again, and I felt like this is kind of like unethical, because who is, like, she felt this way in her own, she felt this, and then who's telling her though that this is not true, or he's going to get out in this, I just felt kind of like, are they telling her the truth? So that's the only thing I can say about that.
I see. Okay, so Misbehave is saying, has Alan's daughter, has her name been mentioned in any of the calls? Haven't heard or seen her. Just her on the bridge before 2017.
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. Yep. So he, there is a picture of her. I don't know if it's her senior photo or something. I can send you that. But yeah,
how old is his daughter now?
20. She's older. 20 older than, I mean, like 25, 26. She's